everybody? It's Richard Chapman and Mike Myers, your two bald nerds. And Mike has got on a pair of amazing glasses. He is styling and profiling. Mike, what the heck are up with those glasses, man?
Well, Richard, it's the eclipse of 2024 is coming up. And I don't know about you, but being a good Texan, since it's going through pretty much two of the biggest cities in Texas, it's a very big thing down here. Right now, the cheapest hotel room I can find in the path of totality is $200 a night. And I think it's really just a refrigerator that they put a bed in.
Nice.
If there's one thing you got to say for Texans is that they are capitalists, man, and they are taking advantage of. Anyway, yes. So
it's not just Texans. I've heard about that across the board, though. Up here where I'm at in outside the DC area, everybody's kind of going to either Ohio or Pennsylvania or New York. Those are kind of the closest areas there. And we've heard the exact same thing. There's no hotels available. And if they are, they're ridiculously high price. So it's not just Texas. It's good old American capitalism at its best.
It gets worse than that. We had actually got hotel rooms almost 3 years ago.
Oh, wow.
Okay? And it's a nice little part of Texas called Fredericksburg. It's kind of a little touristy area, very central Texas, the hill country, as they call it. And we got a phone call a week ago. The guys, as we're recording this, the eclipse is in like 3 days.
Something like that, 4 days.
It's next Monday. So what is that date?
The 8th?
Yeah, May 8th. Yeah, so just a week ago, she gets a phone call and it's like, I'm sorry, but the hotel has gone out of business. And we had already paid for a sizable amount of money. It may not have been quite the ridiculous heights that we're seeing, but we'd already paid for it. It's like, dang. Now here's the night. So we have no place to stay. But here's the thing, Richard. Only on what day is the eclipse? Is going to be
Monday, April 8th.
April 8th. So the only expensive night is Sunday, April 7th.
Yeah.
You see, because Monday night, it's going to get real cheap. Back in 2017 or whenever that last eclipse was, we drove through all that stuff. And it went from, there was a Holiday Inn Express that literally was charging $350. And immediately after the eclipse ended, it was $60. So, yeah. Where was I leading with that? Yeah, so I think the secret for most people is if you're going to go watch the eclipse, do it. If you've never seen a total eclipse, it is a life-changing event. I mean, you understand intellectually, of course, exactly what's happening, but something deep in your medulla oblongata, I don't know human anatomy at all. There's something deep inside of you that says we must dance and bring back the light so that we may bring back the crops or something. I don't know. It really hits you in a very 500,000 osteopictus kind of way. So I can't recommend it enough. But
think about how people used to look at it before they understood the science that we currently understand. It probably felt like just the world was ending or something. I mean, I can't even imagine looking at it,
Well, they had to dance to bring back the light.
Right?
Yeah, there we go. So anyway, speaking of light, one of the big challenges with an eclipse is looking at it. And when I was a kid, what we used to use was a cardboard box. If you take a cardboard box, and it would be more of a shallower one than a deeper box, but literally anything with 6 sides will work. And on one end of the box, now the box has to be completely closed on all 6 sides. All right. So on one end of the box, you cut a hole about 3 inches square. That's the one you look through. And then on that same side, you just hit it with a pin, a needle. Yeah. Actually, a needle's probably a little too thin. Actually, like a knitting needle's even better. But anyway, that's all you got to do. Just do those 2 things. And then you point it so your back is to the sun, and it will make a pinhole camera. Yeah. And you can actually see it. So it's fun. The other thing I think that's great to do is, while I'm thinking about this, is people don't, in a total eclipse, 99% of the time, it just looks like a regular day. it starts looking a little weird for a minute, like almost sort of a dusky thing, and then it goes
Yeah.
into totality, and then you dance. But it's while it's getting there, while it's in the crescent shape, you get the craziest shadows. You need to look down on the ground, like look through a tree or anything, and you get these crazy crescent shaped shadows. It's absolutely fascinating. But anyway, on the glasses, one thing I will tell people is don't use welder's glasses. They're not dark enough. So I get these, I can see absolutely nothing. So I like to use these, and they work great. We use these back in the last eclipse, and they work. I hope they don't have like some chemical in them that wears out. Back in 2018, I look up, my eyes burn out or something.
Right.
But this one is one, and you can get some of these. Now you were talking to me about fakes. What's that all about, Richard?
Yeah, there's actually been a lot of news about glasses like that being mass produced, but they're not actually ISO certified. So there is a significant risk to your eyes. And basically what the information tells us is that if you look on the inside leg, and since you've got a pair there, if you want to hold it up, unfortunately, we probably won't be able to see the text, but on the inside of the leg, you'll actually have an ISO print
Hang
there
on,
that'll say
it's here. ISO 12312-2.
-2. Yep. Yep.
So that's
make
what I'm
sure
looking
you
for,
have
is
that.
that ISO rating.
Yeah, make sure you have that on your glasses just to ensure you don't, it's crazy, but I mean, you're looking at the sun. Pretty much everybody understands when you look at the sun, it's pretty bright, but this is a little bit different when you're staring at the sun for minutes on end. You got to make sure you're protected. So,
No, and that's the thing, because like when you're unprotected, even the quickest glance at the sun, and you're instantly turning away. But
you see spots.
Sure. But like with welding glasses, which I have used in eclipses back in the day, that's a mistake because you start getting the trails and stuff like that. So one of the other things that I find frustrating, Richard, is that so you're watching the eclipse, but you'd like to take a picture of it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So if you don't think you're going to be taking your camera, and it can't handle it. So they've got this thing. I'm not going to totally recommend this. It's not bad. It's not perfect either. This was called Solar Snap. I used this back in 2017. It's still available. I just checked. And basically the idea, it comes with these little lenses. And you take your phone, you put the lens over it, and it's supposed to take pictures. It didn't take that great of pictures, but I'll tell you, I'd rather have had those pictures than no pictures at all.
Right.
And the other thing I can recommend to people is just get some photographs of the eclipse after it happens. It's not like anybody's going to know. Well, yeah, I took these myself. Mm-hmm.
Right.
But anyway,
well, here, since you're talking about the pictures, I'm going to pull this up so everybody can see this real quick too. This is actually an image from 2017 with the full eclipse, and that's pretty dang amazing. If you look closely, you can see the moon. Like you can actually see the different characteristics of the moon, and then it's completely blocking the sun, so you can see the coronal ejections here, the solar flares. It's pretty amazing. Like I am 100% positive that this image was probably taken on a very, very high-end camera. Probably not a cell phone camera with a little plastic thing over the lens, but still, it's pretty cool.
Well, that's the other thing, is that when you're out there, I'm going to tell people this right now. When you're out there looking at the eclipse, there's going to be a bazillion photographers with really nice cameras.
Yeah.
Just sit there and start handing them your email address, okay? Yeah. Because that is somebody who's got the right equipment. They're taking the picture that you would be taking if you had the right equipment. And they probably are happy to give it away. So,
sure.
I was actually point out mine from 2017.
Oh, and wow.
I literally had a professional photographer by coincidence standing next to me. And I was like, dude, here's my email address. I would love, and he just sent me one the next day. It was great. The eclipse experience, Richard. I can't stress to you guys how important it is to do stuff like this. And especially a big one like this, where you could travel from almost anywhere. I think the only people who are going to have it tough are people in Washington and Florida, right? I mean,
yeah,
pretty much everybody else.
Yeah, opposite corners there.
But as a life lifetime experience, as a bucket list, man, going to an eclipse is something that is you really need to do. But
I'm gonna share one more screen here real quick because I think it's another.
what you
cool
got?
thing to
Oh, do you
see.
have a map of the
I do.
totality?
Yeah. So, and this is why this is such a big deal, because they're saying that there's 31 million people in the path. And that's why this one's such a big deal, because it's literally going across, a very, very populated part of the world in essence. So if you're anywhere along this path and you can take the day off, call in sick, go check it out. That's what us two bald nerds would do.
So let me add one more thing. Leave this map up just for a minute, please, Richard.
Yep.
So if you look, you've got two sides to the path of totality, right?
Yep.
The north side and the south side, I guess, if you want to call it that. That's a little deceptive, because what the real path of totality is a line maybe about 30 miles wide tops that goes right through the middle.
Yep.
So on the edges of that path of totality, you might get 20 seconds of eclipse.
Yeah.
Whereas if you the closer you get to the center of that, it'll last 7, 8, sometimes 11. I don't have the timing on this particular one, but that's not unrealistic. So it's a huge time difference. So folks, try to be as close as you can to the center of that line. And the other thing I'd also recommend is that weather for April 8th is going to be questionable. What we do is the same we do every year. We get a hotel, but then we also have the car completely packed out and ready to camp. And we got food in there. And so if we have to chase the sun, as I call it, because in 2017 it was so cloudy, I ended up having to drive across 3 states, and we made it, but it was close. So I'm actually kind of glad we lost our hotel in Texas now, because we're actually going to let you guys in on a secret. Where we're heading? Cape Girardeau, Missouri. Nobody's going to Missouri or northern Arkansas, and I'm gambling.
That's probably true.
I'm gambling that it'll be pretty empty there.
Yeah. So basically, you're going to be somewhere here in this little stretch.
Richard, they're going to be talking about this eclipse for 10 years. There's going to be traffic jams that you can't even wrap your head around. You know what I mean? There's going to be a big Woodstock fair on every interstate that goes under the path of totality. I'm just telling you, be ready for an exciting experience. And folks, if there's any way you can, get in your car and go check it out. It will shake you up a little bit. All right, Richard, that's all I got to say on that. Anything to close with that one?
Not at all. Not at all. As always, we're first and foremost two bald nerds. Go enjoy the solar eclipse.
If you like Two Bald Nerds, check out our entire playlist right here. It's a lot of fun. We'll see you there.